have a custom reveal. Alright, usually I wouldn't do custom videos in this sort of format, but today I decided to change it up a little bit, because usually when I'm doing custom videos, I'll just have a bunch of footage and showing how it was made. But this time I thought I would talk about it a little bit more, because if you've watched the channel for a bit or are familiar with custom painting and such, then, you know, you'll be familiar with all that and it might be kind of boring. So I decided to change things up a bit by talking about the model, more so than just showing how I made it. And I guess the whole idea of show not tell, you could, you know, argue against what I'm trying to do here. But for this project, I didn't film a lot because I wanted to make sure that everything was right. And when you have to worry about filming everything, it kind of throws you off. So let's get started. One time I was just looking at this locomotive, which was on my shelf of diesel engines. And of course, at the time, as you can see, it was in the Santa Fe War Bonnet paint scheme. It is a Lion Chief Santa Fe FT. And I really like the paint scheme, the Santa Fe War Bonnet, and I saved up for quite a few years to buy the original set. And when I got it, I was quite young at the time, and I ran it a lot, and of course I was kind of careless, so I crashed it a lot. And well, you can't really see it on camera. In person, it had a lot of scrapes and scuffs on it, and plus the weathering job I did on it wasn't super great. It was one of the first engines I really tried weathering, and I wasn't super happy with it. And of course, the main reason why I got that set was because I really wanted the post-war ones, but those were a bit out of my reach for the time. But eventually, I was able to get the post-war ones, which I have now, and this locomotive kind of became unnecessary and redundant. So I decided to go in and take the shell apart, which was easier than I thought. The hardest part was indeed getting all the electronics out safely. And it was mostly a deal of, you know, getting the lights out without, you know, breaking the circuit boards and stuff. And nothing was broken, nothing was damaged during the deconstruction. And that was because I took my time. I have learned patience with this custom. I feel like it's kind of taught me to really slow down and do a super thorough and good job when painting stuff. And after I disassembled the shell, I sanded it, I wet sanded it. That's the best way to sand things because, well, you don't have to worry about ventilation because you're not breathing in any of the dust. And it provides a smoother finish, and, you know, then after that you can go in with Scotch-Brite and clean that up. And then I had the bare shell. And then what I did was I went in and I primed the shell. After that, and I probably should have done this step before I did the priming, was I added in some little handrails. Of course, I added in handrails up here above the cab, and that's kind of a feature of F units later in their life when they are more practical and less just for looks. But I think this looks a little better than just having it bare, you know, detail. Then we have a few ladders going up, or a few little steps going up, and then one kind of on the nose of the locomotive. And I think they turned out all right. Definitely not super lined up, but I don't think that that's really a problem. I mean, these three are lined up fine. This one's off, but I think you could probably step up there and then just kind of climb and then reach over there. I think that's how they were set up, or how they would be set up on this engine if Amtrak had had them. And of course, after I did all those modifications, I drilled a hole up here for a light, which I'll show off a little more later. And of course, you know, that was that. I had the shell basically prepared. And of course, my mind was set on having this be an early Amtrak engine, because that's my favorite railroad and favorite era of railroading, which would be the 60s and 70s. And of course, phase one was the paint scheme I was going for. And I looked at various examples of F7s and F9s and various F units that Amtrak had, which also includes some E units too. And of course, a lot of them had beacon lights and the added steps and such. But I did add a few features of my own to the paint scheme. Now, when it came to the actual livery itself on this particular engine, I was inspired by Lionel's FT in the Amtrak scheme, which is a set that I've always really wanted, but I've never really found one for a suitable price for me. And I thought, I have that exact engine, I just need to give it a coat of paint, or you know, a few dozen coats of paint in this instance, to get it, looking basically like that. But what's the fun in making something that already exists? I wanted to change it up at least a little bit. And that would be a few little things I've added. And the challenge for me was I want this to be better than the Lionel version, because what's the point in just replicating something that already exists when you could improve on it and kind of add the things that you want? Because that's the point of custom making. So I'll get to the bit of paint I did first. Of course, the black was the first bit of paint, which you always start with the darkest or easiest to touch up color. If you mess up or get a little bit of overspray, it's easier to clean that up. And then, of course, I did the red next, and then the silver was last, and that worked out great. In terms of the silver, on the other side, in this kind of area, it had the thing where it crystallized a little bit and wrinkled up, just a tiny bit, barely noticeable. But it was there, and, with weathering and tons of coats of clear coat, it just kind of went away, and it's not super noticeable. Next, I gave the whole model a coat of clear coat, and it turned out looking really good. And then I painted on the Amtrak logo. I masked that off and then painted it. They're a tiny bit inconsistent from one side to the other, and there's a little bit of overspray, but they look as good as I can get them, honestly. I could have taken a little bit more time and made them look absolutely perfect, but I felt like they look fine. They look alright. They are acceptable, and I feel like they're way better than any other kinds of graphics I've ever done. In terms of the decals on this locomotive, I wanted to do something a little more professional than what I've done in the past. And this is a pretty big step for me, starting to do actual decals instead of the kind of crappy thing where I just print them out and then I stick them on the engine. But with this, I decided to actually buy some proper paper or decal inkjet printer paper. And at first I was thinking I would just buy the decals, but these decals I wanted to be, I guess, more specialized for this locomotive. And of course I wanted my own number for it, and I didn't want to have to cut up each little number for the decals. So I decided to just go ahead and design it and then print it, and I was able to make a few different decals for this engine. Here we have something on the number board. It's kind of hard to read, but it says 171, and of course that's the number of the engine. We have the Amtrak logo underneath the window, which I think turned out really nice. We have an American flag there, which isn't on the actual locomotive as far as I know, but I like it when American locomotives have that there, like the Metro locomotives, I believe, have that. I added in the Amtrak name beneath the logo. It's not on the actual prototype, but I wanted to differentiate this one from the Lionel model, and also, I had some extra decals and I didn't want them to go to waste. Of course, over at the back, we have 171. Which, of course, the number, if you didn't pick up on it already, is a reference to 1971, Amtrak's inception year. And the number 100, or the 100 series, was the series that all the F units were numbered in, or most of the F units were numbered in, for Amtrak, at least in their earlier years. And I just thought that was a nice little combination of numbers and a nice little reference. And it looks like a number a F unit would have. Alright, I'm going to get this thing hooked up to some coaches, and we're going to run this around.